A Journey to Remember. Martha and Henry Johnson, a spirited elderly couple, had spent their entire lives navigating the complexities of the world hand in hand. Their journey had been filled with love, resilience, and a determination to overcome adversity together. As they embarked on a road trip to celebrate their 50th wedding anniversary, they felt a wave of nostalgia wash over them. Each mile traveled unearthing cherished memories from their storied past. On that sunny afternoon, with the car windows rolled down and the warm breeze tussling their hair, Martha sat in the passenger seat, her silver locks neatly tucked beneath a vibrant scarf. The couple had meticulously planned this trip, choosing to revisit the places that had shaped their lives and their love. As Henry drove, his weathered hands gripped the steering wheel firmly, his eyes focused on the road ahead, the gentle hum of the engine providing a comforting backdrop to their conversation. "Can you believe it, Martha?" Henry mused, breaking the comfortable silence that enveloped them. 50 years of marriage. It feels like just yesterday we were kids, dreaming of our future. Martha chuckled softly, her eyes crinkling at the corners as she smiled at him. "Sometimes it feels like it was just a heartbeat ago, and other times it feels like we've lived 100 lifetimes," she replied, reaching over to pat his arm affectionately. Their laughter faded into a comfortable silence, the kind that spoke volumes of the bond they had nurtured over decades. The sun hung low in the sky, casting a golden hue over the expansive fields and quaint towns that dotted the landscape. Each mile marked not just a distance traveled, but a journey through time, a testament to their unwavering love and the challenges they had faced together. As they drove, memories flooded back like a nostalgic slideshow, some sweet and others bitter. Martha's mind wandered to the early days of their courtship when their love had been a beacon of hope amid societal prejudices. They had fought against the tides of discrimination and hatred, holding hands in public only to face scornful glares and worse. Yet through it all, they had stood strong, defying the odds stacked against them. "Do you remember that diner in Alabama?" Henry asked suddenly, as if reading her thoughts. His voice held a hint of humor mixed with pride. "The one where they wouldn't serve us." Martha nodded, her expression a mix of sadness and pride as the memory washed over her. "How could I forget? You stood up and said we'd wait as long as it took. I was so proud of you that day." Henry chuckled, his eyes sparkling with recollection. "We sat there for hours, didn't we? Until that young waitress finally brought us coffee and a sigh of respect. Sometimes all it takes is one person to do the right thing." They shared a quiet moment, both lost in thought, reflecting on how far they had come. The world outside the car window shifted, small towns giving way to open fields, then back to clusters of buildings. Each scene evoked memories of love, loss, and triumph, a tapestry woven from their life experiences. "You know," Martha said after a while, her voice thoughtful, "I've been thinking about all the kindness we've encountered over the years. Remember Mrs. Johnson from the church? How she brought us casseroles every Sunday?" Henry's face lit up with a warm smile. "Of course. And what about Mr. Tanner at the hardware store? He always gave us a fair price, even when others wouldn't. We've seen so much good in the world." Martha agreed, but there was a note of caution in her voice. "Yes, but we've also seen the ugly side of humanity. It's important to remember that kindness doesn't erase cruelty. We need to stay vigilant, especially today." As they approached a small gas station, the couple felt a sense of unease wash over them. The atmosphere shifted as they parked beside a row of motorcycles, each gleaming in the sunlight, and a group of rowdy bikers loitered outside, laughing and shouting among themselves. Henry's heart sank, the laughter of the bikers contrasting sharply with the serene memories they had just shared. "Should we go inside?" Martha asked, sensing his hesitation. Henry nodded, trying to suppress his apprehension. "We'll just grab some snacks and be on our way. Let's not let them ruin our day." As they stepped out of their car, the laughter of the bikers grew louder, and the couple exchanged worried glances. Martha felt a knot tighten in her stomach as they approached the entrance, The bikers turned their attention to them, their smiles fading into smirks that sent chills down Martha's spine. "Look who it is," one of the bikers called out, his voice dripping with mockery. "What are you two doing out here? Shouldn't you be at home knitting or something?" Martha felt her heart race, but she squeezed Henry's hand tightly, drawing strength from his presence. "Ignore them," she whispered, trying to remain calm. They entered the gas station, but the taunts followed them inside, echoing in their ears like a haunting melody. Inside, they attempted to focus on the task at hand, browsing the shelves for their favorite snacks. But the bikers had followed them in, their laughter reverberating off the walls as they continued their harassment. Each insult felt like a blow, threatening to shatter the peace they had found in each other. "Hey, old man," another biker shouted, leaning against the aisle with an arrogant smirk. "You lost. You look like you need a map." Henry turned to face him, his jaw clenched. "We're just trying to enjoy our day. Please leave us alone." Martha could feel the tension building, her heart pounding in her chest. She had faced her share of prejudice over the years, but this felt different. The bikers were relentless, and she feared that their attempts to remain calm were failing. The store attendant glanced nervously at the bikers, unsure of what to do, and Martha felt a wave of helplessness wash over her. Suddenly, as if the universe had decided enough was enough, Officer James Daniels, a seasoned police officer, entered the gas station, intent on grabbing a quick drink during his patrol. He had been observing the bikers from his cruiser parked outside, and the disrespect they were showing to the elderly couple had not gone unnoticed. Officer Daniels was a man of principle. He believed in justice and protecting the vulnerable, and seeing the couple, their dignity under attack, ignited a fire within him. He quietly surveyed the situation, watching the bikers' taunts escalate, the elderly couple's discomfort palpable. Martha and Henry had no idea that a protector was watching over them. All they could feel was the weight of the bikers' cruelty pressing down on them, and the isolation of the moment made the reality even harder to bear. "Let's get out of here," Henry said finally, trying to steer Martha towards the exit. They had enough of this torment, but before they could make their way out, one of the bikers lunged forward, blocking their path. "Where do you think you're going, Grandma?" he sneered, laughing along with his friends. "You're not leaving until you give us a little entertainment." Martha's heart raced as she looked around for help. That's when she caught a glimpse of Officer Daniels, who had positioned himself behind the bikers, his presence looming like a guardian angel. In that instant, everything changed. Officer Daniels stepped forward, his voice calm but authoritative. "That's enough," he said firmly, addressing the bikers with a piercing gaze. "You're crossing the line." The bikers froze, their bravado faltering under the weight of his presence. Officer Daniels took another step closer, ready to defend the couple with all the strength of his badge and moral conviction. The couple watched in awe as the tide began to turn, hope rekindling in their hearts. "Let me remind you," he continued, his voice steady and unwavering, "that harassment of any kind is unacceptable. You will not bully these people." In that moment, Martha felt a swell of gratitude. The realization that they weren't alone, that someone was standing up for them, ignited a spark of courage within her. She looked at Henry, who nodded subtly, understanding that together they would face this injustice. The bikers exchanged uncertain glances, their confidence wavering. "We were just having a little fun," one of them protested weakly. "Fun at someone else's expense is not acceptable," Officer Daniels replied, his tone leaving no room for argument. "Now, I suggest you leave this couple alone and exit the store quietly. Otherwise, I'll have no choice but to take further action." As the bikers began to back away, Martha felt a rush of relief. They had stood their ground, and now, with the help of Officer Daniels, they had a chance to reclaim their dignity. Little did they know, the confrontation would be just the beginning of a series of events that would not only alter their day, but would leave a lasting impact on the community around them. With the bikers retreating, Martha turned to Officer Daniels, her voice trembling with gratitude. "Thank you," she managed, tears welling in her eyes. "Thank you for standing up for us." Henry echoed her sentiment, placing a reassuring hand on Martha's shoulder. "We appreciate it more than you know, officer. You've restored our faith today." Officer Daniels smiled, his heart warming at the couple's gratitude. "It's my job to protect and serve," he replied. "You deserve respect, no matter where you are. Let's get you two back on your way to celebrating that." The power of unity. As the bikers slipped out of the gas station, their laughter fading into the distance, the atmosphere shifted dramatically. The tension that had once gripped the small space began to dissolve, replaced by a renewed sense of safety and comfort. Martha took a deep breath, the knot in her stomach loosening, and a soft smile spread across her face as she turned to Officer Daniels. "Thank you again," she said, her voice a mix of relief and sincerity. "We were just trying to enjoy our day, and you saved us from a nightmare." Officer Daniels, feeling the warmth of their gratitude, nodded humbly. "I'm just doing my job, ma'am. But it's always good to see people come together and support one another. Don't let those bullies take away your joy." Henry chimed in, his voice filled with appreciation. "You're right, officer. We've faced challenges before, but it's moments like this that remind us how important it is to stand up for what's right." Martha's heart swelled with pride for Henry. His words were a testament to the strength they had built together over the years. She looked around the gas station, feeling the sense of community begin to form. The attendant, who had watched the entire exchange, stepped forward, a grateful look on his face. "I'm sorry I didn't step in sooner," he admitted, scratching his head nervously. "It's just that they can be intimidating, you know." Henry smiled reassuringly. "It's okay. You did your best just by being here. We appreciate that." Martha reached for the attendant's hand, squeezing it gently. "We've all been through tough times. It takes courage to stand up against bullying, and we're grateful for your presence." With the immediate danger behind them, Martha and Henry gathered their snacks, feeling lighter and more united than before. As they made their way to the cash register, Officer Daniels lingered nearby, ensuring the bikers had truly left. "Are you two heading somewhere special?" he asked, genuinely curious as he watched them. Martha's eyes sparkled as she replied, "We're on our way to celebrate our 50th wedding anniversary. We've planned this trip for months, visiting places from our past and making new memories." 50 years. That's incredible," Officer Daniels exclaimed, his admiration evident. "You must have some amazing stories to share." "Oh, we do," Henry said, a twinkle in his eye. "Each year has its own story, filled with ups and downs, love and laughter. But we always come back to the love that brought us together in the first place." The attendant smiled warmly, clearly moved by their connection. "It's inspiring to see a couple like you. It gives hope to those of us still searching for that kind of love." As they paid for their items, Officer Daniels couldn't help but share in the couple's joy. "You know, I believe that love can change the world. It's what brings people together, even in the face of adversity." Martha's heart swelled at the sentiment. "Exactly. Love gives us the strength to rise above challenges. That's what we've always believed." With their purchases in hand, the couple stepped outside into the bright sunlight. The world felt different now. A renewed sense of possibility enveloped them. They climbed back into their car, and as Henry turned the key in the ignition, he glanced at Martha, whose eyes were alight with hope. "Let's not let that encounter ruin our day," Henry declared, determination evident in his voice. "We have so many memories to make." "Absolutely," Martha agreed, feeling the surge of excitement. "We'll not only celebrate our love, but also the kindness of others. Today is about embracing the good." As they resumed their journey, Martha and Henry found themselves reminiscing about the challenges they had overcome together, their laughter ringing through the car. The road stretched out before them, like a canvas waiting to be painted with new experiences. However, the day's earlier events had ignited a spark within them. They couldn't shake the feeling that they needed to do something, to transform their anger and frustration into action. Perhaps this was an opportunity to speak out against bullying and injustice. "We should consider sharing our story," Martha suggested after a thoughtful pause. "Maybe it could inspire others to stand up for what's right, just like Officer Daniels did for us today." Henry nodded, fully on board with the idea. "You're right. We've always believed in the power of storytelling. If our experiences can help even one person feel less alone or encourage someone to take a stand, it's worth it." Excitement bubbled between them as they brainstormed how to share their story. They discussed reaching out to local community centers, schools, and even social media to amplify their message. They envisioned a gathering where they could speak about their experiences, inviting others to share theirs and fostering a sense of unity in the face of adversity. As they drove further down the highway, they spotted a picturesque park nestled just off the road. The sun danced on the surface of a small lake, and families dotted the landscape, enjoying picnics and laughter. "Let's take a break," Martha suggested, her eyes twinkling with joy. "It's the perfect place to gather our thoughts." Henry agreed, pulling into the parking area. They stepped out of the car, stretching their legs and inhaling the fresh, fragrant air. The serenity of the park was a stark contrast to the earlier turmoil they had experienced. As they walked toward the lake, the sound of laughter and splashing water filled the air. A group of children played nearby, their innocent joy a reminder of the resilience of the human spirit. Martha smiled, watching them with a heart full of hope. "This is what it's all about," she said softly to Henry. "Finding joy and peace, even in the aftermath of darkness." They settled onto a bench overlooking the water, allowing themselves to breathe in the beauty surrounding them. As they shared snacks, they couldn't help but share their dreams for the future. Dreams not just for themselves, but for a world that was kinder and more compassionate. "We've always talked about leaving a legacy," Henry said thoughtfully, looking out over the water. "Maybe this is our chance to inspire change." Martha nodded, her heart swelling with pride for the man beside her. "Let's make it happen. We'll create a movement of love and respect. We'll remind others that kindness is a choice, and together we can make a difference." They spent the next few hours basking in the sun, discussing ideas and plans, their excitement bubbling over. The park became a sanctuary for their aspirations, each conversation reinforcing their commitment to fighting against bullying and promoting kindness. As the sun began to dip below the horizon, casting a warm golden glow over the landscape, Martha and Henry realized it was time to continue their journey. The road ahead still held countless memories waiting to be made, and they felt renewed purpose propelling them forward. "Let's do it," Henry said, his determination clear. "We'll speak out, share our story, and encourage others to stand up for one another. We can turn our experience into a beacon of hope." Martha's heart swelled with affection as she squeezed his hand. "I can't think of anyone else I'd rather do this with. Together, we can spread a message of love and resilience." With renewed energy, they climbed back into their car, ready to embrace whatever came next. The highway unfurled before them, a metaphor for their journey of life, full of twists and turns, but always moving forward, always seeking the light. As they drove off into the fading daylight, a sense of anticipation filled the air. They were no longer just a couple celebrating a milestone. They were now warriors for love, champions of kindness, ready to face whatever challenges lay ahead. Their love story was about to take a powerful turn, and they couldn't wait to share it with the world. Little did they know, their journey would soon inspire others in ways they had never imagined, igniting a movement that would ripple through their community and beyond. The movement begins. As the sun dipped below the horizon, painting the sky in hues of orange and pink, Henry and Martha felt a renewed sense of purpose. With every mile they drove, the excitement of their plans bubbled within them, transforming their recent encounter from a painful memory into a catalyst for change. "Let's make a list of everything we want to do," Martha suggested, her voice laced with enthusiasm. "We can create a foundation or even organize community events to bring people together." Henry nodded, his eyes sparkling with ideas. We could start with a community gathering, inviting everyone to share their stories. It would be a great way to create awareness and foster connection. Martha's mind raced with possibilities. We should also include workshops on conflict resolution and standing up against bullying. If we can empower others, we can create a ripple effect. As they drove through the twilight, the couple brainstormed ideas for their initiative, laughing and jotting down notes on a notepad they had brought along. They envisioned a series of events that would not only share their story, but also encourage others to share theirs, creating a safe space for healing and understanding. By the time they reached their destination, a quaint bed and breakfast tucked away in the countryside, they had crafted a preliminary plan for their movement. They checked into their room, the warm decor and rustic charm enveloping them like a hug. "We should celebrate this moment," Henry said, his voice filled with excitement. "Let's toast to new beginnings." They unpacked their bags, and Martha poured 2 glasses of sparkling cider she had saved for their anniversary. Sitting on the porch of their cozy accommodations, they clinked their glasses together, a symbol of hope and resilience. "To love, to strength, and to the journey ahead," Martha proclaimed, her heart brimming with optimism. "To new beginnings," Henry added, his smile radiant. As they sipped their cider, the couple marveled at the beauty of their surroundings. The night was peaceful, with stars twinkling overhead, and they felt a sense of connection to something greater than themselves. "Do you remember the first time we spoke out against injustice?" Henry asked, taking a deep breath as memories flooded back. "It was at that protest for civil rights when we were just kids. We didn't know it then, but those moments shaped who we are." Martha chuckled softly, her eyes glimmering with nostalgia. "Yes, we were so nervous but so passionate. That feeling of standing together for something bigger than ourselves has always stuck with me." With the spark of their past igniting their future, they began to reflect on how their experiences could resonate with others. They had witnessed countless instances of courage, love, and unity throughout their lives, and now they were determined to share those stories. The next morning, they woke up to the sound of chirping birds and a golden sun spilling into their room. After enjoying a hearty breakfast at the bed and breakfast, they decided to take a stroll through the picturesque countryside to gather their thoughts. As they walked hand in hand, Martha couldn't help but notice the beauty of the world around them. "Look at the flowers, Henry. They'd bloom in the most unexpected places, just like the strength of people in difficult times." Henry smiled at her metaphor. "And just like those flowers, we must encourage others to thrive, no matter where they find themselves. Our stories can help them realize they're not alone." Suddenly, Martha had an idea. "What if we create a website to share our stories and encourage others to share theirs? It could be a platform for people to find support and inspiration." "I love that," Henry exclaimed. "We can include resources, articles about kindness, and ways to get involved in the community. Let's not just share our story, but amplify others' voices as well." With their plans taking shape, they returned to the bed and breakfast, excited to bring their vision to life. Over the next few days, they dedicated their time to brainstorming ideas, designing the website, and outlining the first community gathering. They envisioned it as a celebration of love, strength, and unity, an event where people could share their experiences, enjoy local food, and engage in activities that fostered connection. As they worked together, Martha and Henry found their love deepening even further. Each brainstorming session became an opportunity to reminisce about their past and share their dreams for the future. They laughed, cried, and bonded over their shared mission, feeling the warmth of each other's presence guiding them forward. By the time they returned home, they had a clear plan in place. They would hold their first gathering in a month. They secured a local community center as the venue and started reaching out to friends, family, and local businesses for support. They also created flyers to distribute in their neighborhood, inviting everyone to come and share their stories. The response was overwhelmingly positive, and Martha and Henry found themselves energized by the community's enthusiasm. As the weeks passed, the couple poured their hearts into planning the event, creating an atmosphere that fostered love and connection. They included guest speakers, local musicians, and even set up a corner for children to engage in arts and crafts while their parents shared their stories. On the day of the event, a palpable excitement filled the air as people from all walks of life began to arrive. Henry and Martha greeted attendees with warm smiles, grateful to see the diverse faces that had come together to share and support one another. The room was adorned with colorful banners bearing inspiring quotes about love, kindness, and resilience. A table filled with refreshments showcased local treats, encouraging community members to sample and savor the flavors of their town. As the gathering commenced, Martha and Henry stood at the front, ready to welcome everyone. "Thank you all for being here today," Henry began, his voice steady yet filled with emotion. "This event is about creating a safe space where we can share our stories, support one another, and remind ourselves that love conquers all." Martha continued, her eyes shining with gratitude. "Each of us has faced challenges, and it's our stories that connect us. Let's lift each other up and foster an environment where kindness prevails over cruelty." The crowd erupted into applause, the atmosphere electric with hope and unity. People began to share their stories, some heartbreaking, others filled with joy and triumph. With every shared experience, the room transformed into a haven of empathy and understanding. One woman spoke about her struggles with bullying in her youth and how she had learned to rise above it, using her experiences to help others facing similar challenges. A young man shared how he had found solace in a community group after losing a loved one, emphasizing the power of support during difficult times. As the event unfolded, it became clear that this gathering was not just about their experiences, but also about creating a community that would stand together against bullying and injustice. The atmosphere shifted, transforming from a space of mere storytelling into one of action and empowerment. Henry and Martha watched in awe as connections blossomed among attendees. People exchanged contact information, formed friendships, and pledged to support one another beyond the event. Martha felt a wave of emotion wash over her as she witnessed the impact of their efforts. "This is what we envisioned, Henry. Look at how people are connecting and finding strength in one another." "It's incredible," Henry replied, his voice thick with emotion. "This is just the beginning, Martha. We're creating a movement." As the day came to a close, they gathered everyone in a circle, encouraging attendees to share one takeaway from the event. Each person's insight was a testament to the power of unity and love, echoing the very principles Martha and Henry had sought to cultivate. When it was finally their turn, Henry and Martha took a deep breath, gratitude overwhelming them. "Thank you all for being part of this," Martha said, her voice quivering with emotion. "Together, we can make a difference." With that, the couple closed the event with a powerful reminder. Let love guide you, and may you always find the strength to stand up for one another. As attendees began to disperse, Martha and Henry were approached by several individuals who expressed their heartfelt appreciation. "Your story inspired me to share my own," one woman said, tears in her eyes. "Thank you for creating this space." As the last guests left, the couple stood hand in hand, gazing at the empty community center. It had been a day filled with love, connection, and transformation, and they felt the weight of their journey crystallizing into something beautiful. "Can you believe what we just accomplished?" Henry asked, a wide grin spreading across his face. Martha nodded, her heart full. "We've created a community, Henry, a place where love and kindness can flourish." With newfound determination, they vowed to continue their work, inspired by the connections they had fostered and the stories they had shared. The movement had only just begun, and they were ready to see where it would lead them next. Little did they know that their actions would spark a wave of kindness and solidarity that would reach far beyond their community, changing lives in ways they could never have imagined. Their love story had evolved into a movement, igniting hope and healing in the hearts of many. The ripple effect. In the weeks following the community gathering, Henry and Martha found themselves energized by the connections they had forged and the stories they had heard. Their initiative had blossomed into a movement, and they were determined to keep the momentum going. They spent countless evenings brainstorming new ideas, organizing workshops, and reaching out to local organizations that shared their vision of promoting kindness and standing against bullying. One afternoon, as they sat at their kitchen table, surrounded by colorful papers and sticky notes, Martha suggested an idea that had been brewing in her mind. What if we create a mentorship program? We could pair up youth with mentors who have overcome similar challenges. It could provide them with support and guidance while fostering a sense of community. Henry leaned back in his chair, his eyes lighting up with excitement. That's brilliant. We can collaborate with local schools and youth organizations to identify young people who could benefit from mentorship. It would be a wonderful way to empower the next generation. They spent the next few weeks connecting with schools, youth centers, and community organizations, presenting their vision and finding enthusiastic partners willing to join their cause. The response was overwhelmingly positive, and soon they had assembled a team of dedicated volunteers eager to make a difference. As they launched their mentorship program, Martha and Henry realized that they needed to find mentors who could resonate with the youth they aimed to support. They reached out to community leaders, educators, and anyone with inspiring stories of overcoming adversity. The first mentor they found was a local artist named Sarah, who had experienced bullying throughout her childhood, but had turned her pain into powerful art. Her story resonated with many young people, and she agreed to lead workshops on self-expression and creativity, helping mentees channel their emotions into art. Another mentor was Jamal, a former athlete who had faced numerous challenges growing up. His journey through sports had taught him the value of teamwork, perseverance, and resilience, and he was eager to share those lessons with the youth. As the program began to take shape, the first mentorship meeting was scheduled, and the energy in the community was palpable. Henry and Martha prepared a welcoming environment, ensuring that everything from seating arrangements to refreshments created a sense of warmth and inclusivity. On the day of the meeting, young people arrived, some nervously fidgeting with their hands, while others entered with a sense of curiosity and excitement. Henry and Martha greeted them warmly, introducing themselves and explaining the purpose of the mentorship program. "Today marks the beginning of something special," Henry said, his voice steady and encouraging. "You are not alone in your struggles, and we are here to support you every step of the way. Together, we can build a community where kindness prevails and strength is celebrated." Martha continued, her eyes scanning the room filled with eager faces. "Each of you has a unique story, and we believe that by sharing those stories, we can uplift one another. You will have mentors who care deeply about your success and happiness, and we're all excited to embark on this journey together." As the young people settled in, Sarah and Jamal shared their stories, each narrative infused with vulnerability and resilience. Their authenticity drew the mentees in, creating an immediate connection. The young attendees were captivated by the mentors' words, and as they listened, they began to feel a sense of belonging. Following the introductions, the group broke into smaller circles, allowing for deeper conversations. Each mentee was paired with a mentor who resonated with their individual experiences. The atmosphere was charged with hope, laughter, and the gentle sound of shared vulnerabilities. As the weeks rolled on, the mentorship program flourished. Mentees blossomed under the guidance of their mentors, discovering their strengths and finding their voices. Martha and Henry attended each session, witnessing the transformation firsthand as young people shared their dreams and fears, all while finding comfort in the knowledge that they had support. One evening, after a particularly inspiring session, Martha and Henry reflected on the progress they had made. "I can't believe how much these kids have opened up," Martha said, her heart swelling with pride. "Their courage to share their stories is incredible." Henry nodded, a thoughtful expression on his face. "It's a reminder that we're all interconnected. When one person shares their truth, it encourages others to do the same. We're breaking down walls, creating an environment where vulnerability is celebrated. Inspired by their mentees' progress, they decided to organize a showcase event to celebrate the journey of each young person involved in the program. The idea was to create a platform where they could share their stories, showcase their talents, and inspire others. The planning began in earnest. Martha and Henry coordinated with the mentors and mentees, brainstorming ways to make the event memorable. They envisioned an evening filled with performances, storytelling, and art displays that would highlight the resilience and creativity of each participant. As the event drew closer, excitement filled the air. The community rallied behind the initiative, offering support in the form of sponsorships, food donations, and even local musicians eager to contribute their talents to the showcase. On the night of the event, the community center buzzed with energy. The walls were adorned with colorful banners and artwork created by the mentees, each piece reflecting their unique stories. Friends, family, and community members filled the seats, eager to support the young individuals sharing their journeys. Henry and Martha stood backstage, their hearts racing with anticipation. "This is it," Henry said, his voice filled with emotion. "I can't believe how far we've come together." Martha nodded, her eyes shimmering with pride. "We've created a space for these young people to shine, and I couldn't be happier." As the event kicked off, the atmosphere shifted to one of celebration. Each mentee took the stage, sharing their stories with raw honesty and vulnerability. Some recited poetry, others sang, and a few shared powerful anecdotes about their journeys, capturing the audience's hearts. The stand-up moment of the evening came when a shy girl named Mia stepped onto the stage. She had struggled with bullying for years and had been hesitant to share her story. However, with encouragement from her mentor, she found the courage to express herself. As she stood before the crowd, her voice trembled initially, but as she began to share her experiences, a palpable strength emerged. She spoke about the importance of self-acceptance and how the mentorship program had helped her discover her worth. "I realized that my voice matters," Maya said, tears glistening in her eyes. "I've learned that I'm not defined by the negativity of others. I am strong and I am worthy of love." The audience erupted into applause, tears streaming down faces and smiles illuminating the room. Henry and Martha exchanged glances, their hearts swelling with pride for the impact their initiative was having. As the night continued, the performances showcased the talents and resilience of each mentee, creating a sense of community and solidarity. The air was filled with laughter, tears, and joy as stories intertwined, illustrating the beauty of shared experiences. After the final performance, Henry took the stage alongside Martha, his voice steady and filled with gratitude. "Thank you all for being here tonight to support these incredible young people. Their bravery in sharing their stories reminds us that we are never alone in our struggles. Together, we can rise above adversity and create a world where kindness prevails." Martha added, her heart full, "This is just the beginning. Let's continue to lift one another up, support one another, and remind ourselves that our stories are powerful. When we share, we create connections, and together we can make a difference." As the event concluded, attendees mingled, sharing their thoughts and experiences, fostering connections that would extend beyond that evening. Conversations flowed, laughter rang out, and the sense of community enveloped everyone present. In the weeks that followed, word of the mentorship program and showcase spread throughout the community. More young people expressed interest in joining, and the initiative grew beyond their expectations. Henry and Martha found themselves busier than ever, yet their hearts overflowed with joy and purpose. They witnessed the ripple effect of their work, with attendees reaching out to support one another, sharing their stories, and creating the community grounded in love and respect. As they reflected on their journey, they realized that they had ignited something powerful. They had created a movement that inspired others to stand against bullying and embrace kindness. The world was beginning to shift, one story at a time, and Martha and Henry were determined to keep pushing forward. Together, they envisioned a future where their work could extend beyond their community, They began brainstorming ideas for expanding their initiative, reaching out to other towns, and sharing their message on a larger scale. With the support of their growing community, they organized a series of workshops and speaking engagements in nearby cities, eager to spread their message of love and resilience even further. Their story became a beacon of hope, and soon they found themselves invited to speak at schools, community centers, and even local conferences. As they traveled from town to town, sharing their journey and witnessing the transformation in others, Martha and Henry felt an overwhelming sense of fulfillment. They knew they were making a difference, and the impact of their movement was far-reaching. Little did they know, their story was about to take an unexpected turn, leading them to new challenges, opportunities, and a chance to inspire countless more lives along the way. Their love had sparked a movement that would continue to grow, one powerful story at a time. Unforeseen challenges. The momentum of Martha and Henry's mentorship program surged, and the community's excitement transformed into an unstoppable wave of positivity. As they traveled to share their message in neighboring towns, they encountered diverse communities, each with its own unique struggles and stories. Every workshop left them feeling inspired, yet it also opened their eyes to the vast challenges still prevalent in society. In one town, during a workshop aimed at teenagers, they met a group of young people grappling with the effects of bullying, mental health struggles, and the weight of societal expectations. As Henry shared their personal experiences, he noticed several attendees exchanging nervous glances, hesitant to share their own stories. After the session, a shy girl named Leela approached them, her voice barely above a whisper. "Can I talk to you?" she asked, tears shimmering in her eyes. Martha knelt beside her, her heart aching at the sight of Leela's distress. "Of course, sweetheart. What's on your mind?" Leela hesitated before continuing. "I've been bullied for so long, and I just don't know how to cope. It feels like no one cares." The raw pain in her words struck a chord within Martha, who knew firsthand the depths of such loneliness. "Leela, you're not alone. We've all faced moments like this," Martha said gently. "But together, we can find a way to lift each other up. You have a voice that deserves to be heard." Inspired by their conversation, Leela decided to join the mentorship program, eager to transform her pain into something meaningful. The support she found within the group began to lift her spirits, but the reality of her situation weighed heavily on her heart. Meanwhile, Henry found himself reflecting on the systemic issues that led to such deep-rooted bullying. He recalled his own experiences and how the world had changed, and yet, in many ways, remained the same. "Martha," he said one evening as they sat in their cozy living room, the soft glow of the lamp illuminating their faces, "I feel like we need to do more. We're inspiring change on an individual level, but what about the larger picture? How can we reach the hearts of those who may never step foot in our workshops?" Martha nodded thoughtfully. "You're right, Henry. We've created a community of support, but if we truly want to make an impact, we need to tackle the roots of these issues. Perhaps we should consider speaking out against the bullying culture itself, addressing not just the symptoms, but the underlying problems that perpetuate it." With renewed determination, they set out to develop a new initiative aimed at addressing the larger societal issues contributing to bullying. They organized community forums that invited local leaders, educators, and youth to discuss the pervasive nature of bullying and how they could work together to create a culture of kindness and respect. As they began to facilitate these forums, they encountered mixed reactions. While many participants were enthusiastic about the opportunity to address the problem, others resisted the conversation altogether, defending the status quo and dismissing the need for change. One particularly heated meeting took place in a packed school auditorium. As voices rose, a local businessman named Mark stood up and scoffed. "Kids will be kids. Bullying is just part of growing up. We can't coddle them. They need to toughen up." Martha felt her heart race at the dismissive attitude. "With all due respect, Mark, we're not trying to coddle anyone. We're aiming to create an environment where every child feels safe and valued." Bullying has lasting effects that can harm both the victims and the bullies themselves. As the discussion continued, tensions flared. However, Martha and Henry remained resolute, presenting statistics and research demonstrating the harmful consequences of bullying and its correlation with mental health issues. They emphasized the importance of nurturing a culture of kindness, respect, and accountability. Gradually, more people began to speak up, sharing their experiences and adding weight to Martha and Henry's argument. A teacher recounted the heartbreak of watching students struggle in silence, while a parent described the distress of her child who faced relentless bullying. The conversation gradually shifted from resistance to understanding, and by the end of the forum, a palpable change filled the room. People began to recognize the urgency of addressing bullying as a community issue, and together, they brainstormed actionable steps that could be taken moving forward. As the forums gained traction, Martha and Henry received invitations to speak at local schools, community events, and even conferences focused on mental health and bullying prevention. Their efforts were gaining momentum, but with it came the realization that their mission would not be without obstacles. With the growing visibility of their initiative, they faced backlash from those who felt threatened by their message. An anonymous social media account was created, posting derogatory comments about Martha and Henry, dismissing their initiative as overreaction and unnecessary. At first, the couple tried to ignore the negativity, focusing on the positive impact they were having in their community. However, the comments took a toll on Martha. "It hurts, Henry," she admitted one night, her voice shaky. "I thought we were making progress, but then I see this hatred, and it feels like we're fighting against a tidal wave." Henry took her hands, his gaze steady and reassuring. "Martha, we can't let the negativity overshadow the good we're doing. We have to rise above it and keep our focus on those who need our support. The louder the backlash, the more it shows that we're hitting a nerve. That means we're on the right track." Encouraged by his words, Martha decided to confront the negativity head-on. They organized an open community discussion, inviting those who felt similarly to the social media critics to attend. The goal was to create a safe space for dialogue, allowing people to voice their opinions while fostering understanding and empathy. During the meeting, Martha spoke passionately about the importance of kindness, resilience, and community support. "We can either choose to uplift one another or let fear and anger divide us. The choice is ours," she urged, her voice unwavering. The discussion proved fruitful as attendees began to share their own experiences with bullying, both as victims and witnesses. By listening to one another, they gradually found common ground, recognizing that everyone had a role to play in creating a more inclusive community. As they continued to address the growing pains of their initiative, Martha and Henry also found strength in their bond. They began to see themselves as more than just a couple. They were partners in a larger mission, champions of kindness, and advocates for change. With each new challenge, they learned and adapted, finding ways to navigate the complexities of their mission. They forged alliances with local organizations, expanded their programs, and reached out to youth in schools that were often overlooked. The culmination of their efforts came when they organized a community-wide event to promote kindness and celebrate the progress they had made. They envisioned a day filled with activities, art displays, and storytelling, a festival dedicated to uplifting voices and fostering connections. As the event day approached, the excitement in the community was palpable. Local businesses sponsored activities, artists volunteered their time, and volunteers flocked to help set up the festival grounds. The couple poured their hearts into the preparations, eager to create an experience that would resonate with everyone. On the day of the festival, the park was transformed into a vibrant tapestry of color, music, and laughter. Families gathered, children played games, and vendors shared food from various cultures, representing the rich diversity of the community. Henry and Martha welcomed attendees with warm smiles, their hearts brimming with gratitude. "Today, we celebrate each other," Martha announced at the opening ceremony, her voice carrying across the crowd. "We celebrate the strength of our community, our stories, and the kindness that unites us all. As the day unfolded, attendees shared their stories through art, poetry, and music. The festival became a powerful reminder that together they could overcome adversity and create a brighter future. Lila took the stage, now bursting with confidence, and spoke about her journey of healing and growth. Her words resonated deeply, inspiring others to share their own stories. The festival was more than just a celebration. It was a testament to the resilience of the community and the power of unity. The seeds that Martha and Henry had planted were blossoming into something beautiful, and they could feel the palpable energy of change in the air. As the sun began to set, casting a golden hue across the park, Martha and Henry stood side by side, looking out at the sea of faces before them. They felt a profound sense of fulfillment, knowing that their efforts were making a difference, and they were not just fighting against bullying. They were cultivating a culture of compassion. "Do you remember our first workshop?" Henry asked, a smile spreading across his face. "We were just two people with a dream." Martha chuckled softly, her eyes shining with pride. "And look at what we've built together. It's beyond anything I could have imagined." But beneath their joy, an awareness lingered that their journey was far from over. They knew that while they had made significant strides, challenges remained. The road ahead would be filled with both victories and setbacks, and they were determined to navigate it together. As the festival drew to a close, they felt invigorated by the love and support of their community. They knew that the impact of their work was just beginning, and the journey ahead would continue to unfold in ways they could only imagine. A legacy of change. With the festival behind them, Martha and Henry returned to their daily lives, now infused with a renewed sense of purpose. The event had been a resounding success, garnering attention not only from the community, but also from local media. Articles began appearing, highlighting their work and the significant impact it was having on the lives of young people. Encouraged by the attention, they began receiving requests to speak at schools across the region, each invitation carrying a message of hope. But with each new opportunity came the realization of the weight of their responsibility. They understood that their words could inspire, heal, and ignite change, but they also recognized the risk of being vulnerable to criticism and backlash. As they embarked on this next chapter, they decided to focus on developing a comprehensive curriculum aimed at combating bullying in schools. Their goal was to create a program that would empower students not only to stand up against bullying, but also to foster empathy, understanding, and acceptance among peers. They reached out to educators, psychologists, and community leaders to collaborate on this initiative. Together, they designed a series of workshops that emphasize storytelling as a powerful tool for healing and connection. The curriculum included activities that encouraged students to share their experiences, recognize their biases, and understand the impact of their words and actions. In one particular session, Martha and Henry worked with a group of high school students who had been chosen to represent their peers. The atmosphere was charged with anticipation as the students gathered in the auditorium, their expressions a mix of excitement and apprehension. "Today, we want to create a safe space for everyone to share their thoughts and feelings," Martha explained, her voice warm and inviting. "Each of you brings a unique perspective, and together, we can explore how we can support one another." As they began the workshop, the students slowly opened up about their own experiences with bullying, revealing the fear and pain they had endured. Martha listened intently, nodding in understanding, while Henry encouraged them to think critically about the root causes of their behaviors. "I know it's not easy to talk about these things," Henry said, "but by sharing your stories, you're not just helping yourselves, you're paving the way for change." As the discussions deepened, the students began to recognize the power they held to influence their environment. Leela, now a confident leader in her peer group, stood up to share her journey. "I used to feel so alone," she began, her voice strong. "But when I started talking about what I was going through, I realized that I wasn't the only one. We have to support each other, not tear each other down." Her words struck a chord with her classmates, sparking a series of nods and murmurs of agreement. The atmosphere shifted as the students began brainstorming ideas for creating a more inclusive school environment. They discussed ways to implement kindness campaigns, buddy systems, and regular check-ins for students who might be struggling. As the session drew to a close, Martha and Henry felt a wave of gratitude wash over them. They had witnessed firsthand the transformative power of vulnerability and connection, and they knew that their efforts were resonating deeply with the younger generation. But as they continued their work, they were met with unexpected resistance. A group of parents, concerned about the focus on mental health and anti-bullying efforts, voiced their objections. They argued that discussions around feelings and vulnerability were unnecessary and would make their children weak. Martha and Henry recognized the fear driving these objections. They had encountered similar sentiments throughout their lives. Rather than responding with defensiveness, they invited the parents to a forum, hoping to bridge the gap through open dialogue. On the day of the forum, the atmosphere was tense. Parents gathered, some visibly skeptical, while others appeared eager to understand. Martha stood before the crowd, her heart pounding but her resolve unwavering. "We understand that change can be uncomfortable," she began. "But we're not here to make anyone weak. We're here to empower our children to be strong, empathetic leaders." As the discussion progressed, Martha and Henry shared their own experiences, illustrating how vulnerability had played a crucial role in their strength and resilience. They explained that discussing feelings was not a sign of weakness, but a vital part of emotional intelligence, an essential skill for navigating the complexities of life. Gradually, the conversation shifted. A few parents began to share their own struggles, revealing their fears for their children's safety and well-being. They voiced concerns about the harsh realities of the world and how they worried that their children would be ill-equipped to handle adversity. Martha and Henry listened carefully, acknowledging these fears while emphasizing that equipping children with emotional tools could help them navigate challenges rather than avoid them. They highlighted the importance of fostering a culture where children could express themselves openly without fear of judgment or ridicule. By the end of the forum, a palpable shift had occurred. Many parents who had initially resisted began to see the value in the program, recognizing that the skills their children would learn could help build resilience and empathy. They began to discuss ways to support the initiative, suggesting that the school host family workshops and information nights to engage the wider community. As word of their efforts spread, Martha and Henry found themselves invited to larger conferences and events, speaking about their work and its impact. Their commitment to creating positive change garnered attention, leading to partnerships with organizations dedicated to mental health and youth advocacy. With each new opportunity, they saw the ripple effect of their actions. Students began to take ownership of their voices, advocating for themselves and their peers. Bullying incidents began to decrease, and students who had once felt isolated found camaraderie and support. However, even amid this progress, Martha and Henry understood that their mission was an ongoing journey. One evening, as they sat together in their living room, Martha sighed, her expression thoughtful. "I can't help but think about the future. There's still so much work to be done. What happens when we can't be there?" Henry took her hand, squeezing it gently. "That's the beauty of what we're building. We're not just fighting against bullying, we're creating a legacy of change. We're teaching young people to become advocates for themselves and others. They'll carry this message forward." With this realization, they set their sights on the next phase of their journey, empowering young leaders to take charge of the movement. They developed a mentorship program specifically designed for high school students, giving them the tools and support they needed to lead their own initiatives and workshops. As the program launched, Leela emerged as one of its shining stars, helping to train her peers and facilitate discussions. The energy within the group was electric. Each student brought their unique perspectives and ideas, driving the movement forward in unexpected ways. Martha and Henry watched with pride as their mentees took ownership of their stories, advocating for change within their schools and communities. They organized awareness campaigns, created social media content, and collaborated with local businesses to promote kindness initiatives. One day, Leela approached Martha and Henry with an exciting proposal. "We want to organize a community march for kindness. We believe it's time to show everyone that we stand united against bullying and promote acceptance." The couple exchanged glances, their hearts swelling with pride. "That sounds incredible, Leela," Henry exclaimed. "We would be honored to support you in this effort." As plans for the march unfolded, the community buzzed with anticipation. Flyers were distributed, social media campaigns launched, and soon, people from all walks of life began to express their support. The march became not just a demonstration against bullying, but a celebration of diversity, acceptance, and unity. On the day of the event, the streets were filled with vibrant colors, laughter, and voices raised in solidarity. Families, students, and community members gathered, proudly wearing shirts emblazoned with messages of kindness and support. As Martha and Henry led the march, they felt a profound sense of fulfillment. They had witnessed a transformation, not just within the students but within the community as a whole. Their mission had ignited a fire of change, one that would continue to grow and flourish. As the march reached its conclusion, Leela took the stage to address the crowd. "Today, we stand together, united against bullying. We are here to support one another, to lift each other up, and to create a world where kindness reigns. Let this be the beginning of a movement that echoes far and wide." The crowd erupted into applause, their cheers a testament to the strength of their community. In that moment, Martha and Henry realized that they had not just created a program. They had sparked a movement that would continue to ripple through generations. As the sun began to set, casting a warm glow over the gathering, Martha leaned into Henry, her heart brimming with gratitude. "I never imagined we could inspire such change. This is beyond anything I ever dreamed of." Henry smiled, his eyes glistening with emotion. "And it's just the beginning, Martha. Together, we've built a legacy of change, a testament to the power of resilience, compassion, and community." In that moment, surrounded by the laughter and joy of their community, Martha and Henry knew that they had fulfilled their mission: to empower others, create a culture of kindness, and leave a lasting impact on the world. Their love had not only endured but had blossomed into a force for good, and together they would continue to inspire hope, healing, and change for generations to come.